Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Okay, today's topic is magnet and magnetism, right? We have heard about magnet and the properties of magnet, right? So today's topic is magnetism and magnet, right? So as the term magnetism is derived from a word that is magnesia. So it's a place in the Asia Minor where the iron oxide was found in abundance, right? So iron oxide, the formula is Fe2O3, right? And it is also known as hematite. So there is a place in Asia Minor that is magnesia. So on the name of magnesia, magnetism word is derived. Clear? So later the Chinese called it a lead stone and discovered its directional properties. So if a lead stone is suspended freely by a thread, it would set itself in the direction of Earth's geographical north and south direction, right? So this is the basic property of magnet bar, right? So when we suspend the magnet bar, its direction will be in north and south direction. Yeah. So the substance which attracts iron pieces and sets itself in north and south direction when it is freely suspended. So it is called magnet, right? So the magnet is a material which attracts iron pieces, clear, and sets itself in the north and south direction, right? So thus a substance which attracts magnetic substances is called magnet, and the property is known as magnetism, right? So thus magnetism can be defined as the property by virtue of which a magnet attracts a small particles of iron and steel, right? So magnet attracts small particles of iron and steel. Clear? So this is the basic property of magnet. It attracts iron and steel small particles, right? Next is types of magnet. So there are two types of magnet. One is natural magnet and one is artificial magnet, right? First we discuss natural magnet. The magnets found in the nature are called natural magnets, right? And these magnets are weak and shapeless, right? So the magnets found in the nature are called natural magnets, and these are weak and shapeless. Clear? Next one is artificial magnets, which we use in day-to-day life. Artificial magnets. These are man-made magnets, and these are called artificial magnets, right? And these magnets are strong and of different shapes. They may be bar shaped, horseshoe shaped, magnetic needles, magnetic compass, etc. So all these are man-made magnets. These are known as artificial magnets. So one is natural magnet and the other one is artificial magnet. That is man-made magnet. So natural magnet is found in a nature. These magnets are weak and shapeless, as we know, and the artificial magnets are man-made magnets, and these are strong and of different shapes, right? So we can categorize magnet in two parts. One is natural magnet, and the other one is artificial magnet, right? Now there are two types of artificial magnets. One is temporary magnet, and one is permanent magnet. So what are the properties of temporary magnet? In this, magnetism of these magnets is temporary and it is made up of soft iron. Right? This is known as temporary magnet. And the other one is permanent magnet. So magnetism of these magnets is permanent and it is made up of steel, nickel and cobalt. So these are permanent magnets. Right? Now we discuss magnetic poles. So these points inside the magnet where the attraction is maximum are called poles. Right? So every magnet has two poles, as we know. One is North Pole and the other one is South Pole. Right? So a freely suspended magnet set itself in a direction of geographic north and south direction. So every magnet has always two poles. One is North Pole and the other one is South Pole. So North Pole, the end of magnet pointing towards north is called North Seeking Pole or North Pole, and the end of the magnet pointing towards south is called South Seeking Pole or South Pole. Right? So when we suspend the magnetic bar, it always sets itself in a north and south direction. Right? So unlike poles attract each other and the like poles repel each other. This is the basic property of magnet. Unlike pole means north and south, these are unlike poles, they always attract each other. And like poles means north and south. Like poles always repel each other. Clear? So the two magnets, one of which is suspended, comes closer to each other when their opposite poles are kept nearer, whereas it moves apart if like poles are kept nearer. Right? So opposite poles attract to each other and the same poles repel each other. Right? So an isolated magnetic poles never exist. Right? There will always be two poles. One is north and one is south pole. So a north pole alone or a south pole alone never exists in a magnet. Right? So if a magnetic bar is broken into small pieces, then each piece of magnet will have both a north and a south pole, and it will behave like a complete magnet, right? So if the bar is broken into small pieces, every small piece will have north and south pole, right? And that will behave like a complete magnet, right? These are the properties of magnetic poles. Now we discuss properties of magnet. What are the properties of magnet? First basic property is attraction. It attracts magnetic substances. The magnet, when dropped in a pile of iron filings, the filings gets deposited on the magnet, right? Because the magnet attracts iron filings, and this deposition is maximum at the ends, and least is in the middle, right? So maximum deposition occurs at the ends, right, and least in the middle. So this shows magnetism is maximum at the corner or at the ends and goes on reducing towards the middle. And it is zero at the middle point of the magnet, right? So this is the one property of magnet. Next one is a freely suspended magnet sets itself in the direction of north and south pole. So it displayed from the direction, it again returns to its original position, right? So when you suspend a magnet bar, it always be set in a north and south direction. When we displace it from the direction, it will again return to the original position. So it will always suspend in north and south direction, right? So this is the basic property of magnet. The other property is the similar poles repel and the opposite poles attract each other, right? So north and north pole will repel each other, south and south pole will repel each other, but the north and south pole will attract each other, right? And the other property is the isolated north or south pole is not possible, right? Isolated north or south pole is not possible. Clear? Next property is heating and hammering destroy the magnetic property of the magnet. So when we heat the magnetic bar or when we hammer the magnetic bar, so destroys the magnetic property of the magnet, right? Magnetism will be reduced. Next property is the magnetic substances are magnetized by the magnetic induction, right? So magnetic substances are magnetized by the magnetic induction. Next property is a magnetic field is the area or the zone of influence around a magnet in which its magnetic force is apparent, right? So the field is made up of magnetic lines of forces, right? So a magnet forms a magnetic field around the bar or whatever it is, right? So a magnetic field is the area or the zone of influence around a magnet in which its magnetic force is apparent. So this field is made up of magnetic lines of forces, right? So these are the properties of magnet. Clear? Any doubt? Right. Now we discuss magnetic induction. What is magnetic induction? point is a magnet creates magnetism in magnetic materials by the induction. So when a pole of powerful magnet is brought closer to a soft iron bar, the bar becomes magnet by the phenomena as magnetic induction. Right? So in this, the end of the bar closer to the magnet becomes unlike pole, while the far end becomes like pole. Right? So a magnet may also produce a magnetic effect in an object without contact between them by the magnetic induction. Right? So we have done so many experiments. No? So if we take a paper and we put some iron filings over it, and we put the iron ball under the paper, right? So we can move the iron filings accordingly, right? So there is no contact between the iron filings and the magnet bar, right? But the magnetic effect will be produced. And this is produced by the effect of magnetic induction. Clear? So magnetic effect is produced by the influence of the magnet over the molecular magnet of susceptible material. So the phenomena by which the magnetism is produced in the magnetic substance with the help of a magnet is called magnetic induction. Clear? So this one is magnetic induction. Now I'm going to tell you about Coulomb's inverse square law. So laws of attraction and repulsion between the two poles is called Coulomb's inverse square law. So the force of attraction or repulsion between the two magnetic poles is directly proportional to their masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. Right? So let their pole strength be like M1 and M2. One pole strength is M1 and the other pole strength is M2. Keep it at the distance of d apart, small d. Right? One is M1, one is M2, and the distance between M1 and M2 is d, small d. So F is directly proportional to M1 and M2, right? And F is inversely proportional to the square of the distance, right? So this will be F equals K M1 M2 by d square, right? So this is the formula, Coulomb's inverse square law, the laws of attraction and repulsion. So F is equal to K M1 M2, that is divided by d square, right? It means the force is directly proportional to the strength M1 and M2 pole strength, right? And the distance force is inversely proportional to the square of the distance. Clear? This one is Coulomb's inverse square law. I will send you slides also. क्या समझ में आ रहा है आप लोगों को? इजी है, ये सारी चीजें आपने किया होगा, पहले भी पढ़ा होगा, राइट? नाउ वी डिस्कस मैग्नेटिक मोमेंट. So the product of pole strength and effective length of a magnet is called magnetic moment of the magnet. So if small m is the pole strength and 2L, 2 small l is the effective length of the magnet, then the magnetic moment will be capital M will be equal to small m into 2L, right? Or we can write it down as capital M is equal to twice ml, right? So where the m is the pole strength and the 2L is the effective length of the magnet, and the capital M is the magnetic moment. So magnetic moment capital M is equal to twice ml, right? Now we can see magnetic lines of forces, right? So magnetic lines of forces are the graphical representation of magnetic field. A magnetic lines of force is a smooth curve in a magnetic field such that the tangent at any point on it gives the direction of magnetic field at that point. This is an important line. So magnetic lines of forces are the graphical representation of magnetic field, right? And the magnetic lines of forces are smooth curves in the magnetic field such that the tangent at any point, if we draw a tangent at any point, it gives a direction of magnetic field at that point, right? Next point is actually the lines of forces do not exist but are hypothetically considered to explain the magnetic phenomena graphically, right? Now we discuss properties of magnetic lines of forces. Properties of magnetic lines of forces, right? So first point is the magnetic lines of forces always originate from North Pole. These lines originates from North Pole. Suppose this one is bar, right? And this side is north. So these lines of forces originates from North Pole, right? North Pole. And following a curved path and enter the South Pole, right? To reach back to the North Pole by moving inside the magnet. Thus, these are closed curves, right? So magnetic lines of forces forms of curves, and these are closed curves, right? And they originates from North Pole and enters from the South Pole and reach back to the North Pole by moving inside the magnet, right? Next point is the two lines of forces can never intersect each other. So if two lines of forces intersect, there would be two tangent at that point. So hence the resultant force would have two directions of magnetic field, which is not possible. So two lines of forces can never intersect each other. एक दूसरे को क्रॉस नहीं कर सकते. It originates from North Pole, enters in the South Pole, right? And lines of forces cannot intersect each other, right? जब intersect करेंगे, the point where the intersection is going to be takes place. So when we can draw a tangent, that will show two directions, right? That is not possible. So these lines of forces, two lines of forces, can never intersect each other, right? The next point is Tangent drawn at any point on the curve gives direction of resultant force at that point. So when we draw a tangent at any point on the curve, it gives a direction of the resultant force. Right? Next is outside the magnet, the direction is from north to south. And inside the magnet, the direction is from south to north. Right? So outside the magnet, the direction is from north to south. And inside the magnet, the direction is from south to north. Right? Is this clear? Properties of lines of forces. Next feature is they behave just like a stretched elastic string. Right? Next is the lines of forces are closer near the poles, where the field is stronger. As we move away from the poles, the lines of forces becomes rarer and the strength of the field decreases. Right? So hence, greater the number of lines of forces, stronger is the field. Right? Next is they experience tension along the lines of force. Therefore, unlike forces attract each other. Right? So always unlike forces attract each other. Next is they repel each other in the direction and perpendicular to it. Therefore, the like poles repel each other. Right? Positive, positive will repel each other. Negative, negative will repel each other. This is the basic property of magnetic lines of forces. Next one is at any place, the lines of force in the Earth's magnetic field are equidistant and parallel, which means that particular place, the direction and magnitude of Earth's magnetic field is same at all the points. This is known as uniform magnetic field. Right? Next is magnetic dipole theory or coupled on a ball magnet in a magnetic field. So now we take a 5 minutes break and we will come back. It's a total theoretical topic, right? So read all the points. After 5 minutes, we will come back, right? So we have discussed about properties of magnetic lines of forces, right? Anyone can explain this properties of magnetic lines of forces? Anyone? What are the properties of magnetic lines of forces? Purnima, Aparna, Aisha, Sachin, anyone? Shahid, Mansi? We have discussed na, properties of magnetic lines of forces. So from where it originates? From which pole? Magnetic lines of forces originates from which pole?
So North Pole.
North pole, right? Enters in the magnet bar from south pole,
South to North.
right? Moves from north to south, right? And inside the magnet bar, it moves from south to north, right? And these two lines of forces cannot intersect each other, right? What is the cause behind this? The two lines cannot intersect each other. What is the cause? Why they don't intersect each other?
So two
Anyone?
tangents will.
Huh?
So if they intersect each other, then two tangents will be formed, and two direction of magnetic field, which is not possible.
Right, right, right. Clear? So this tangent drawn at any point on the curve, it shows the direction of the magnetic field, right? That's why these two lines of forces can never intersect each other, right? Next is they behave just like a stressed elastic strings, right? And the lines of forces are closer near the poles, right? Where the field is stronger. So as we move away from the poles, the lines of forces becomes rarer. So the strength of the field decreases, right? So hence the greater the number of lines of forces, the stronger is the field, right? So we get a strong field around the poles, right? North pole and south pole. Next is they experience tension along the lines of force. Therefore, unlike forces attract each other, right? And they repel each other in the direction perpendicular to it. Therefore, the like poles repel each other, right? Now we discuss magnetic dipole theory. What is magnetic dipole theory? Or couple on a ball magnet in a magnetic field. The point is, where magnetic dipole or ball magnet or current carrying loop or current coil is placed in a magnetic field, it is acted upon by a couple of forces which has the tendency to align the axis of the dipole parallel to the magnetic field, right? So the magnetic dipole is the dipole moment, that is capital M, and it is the product of pole strength, that is small m, and effective length, that is 2L. L is small l, right? So capital M is equal to M into 2L, right? So according to the atomic model of magnet, Each atom of a magnet is a small current loop, and all these current loops are aligned in the same direction. So, in a magnetic field, the sum of the couple on these small loops is the couple acting on the magnet, right? So, in a magnetic field, capital B, we denote magnetic field by capital B. So, the couple on a current loop situated at an angle with a direction of the field. So, tau is equal to I into A into B sine theta, right? So, where the A is the area of current loop. If there are n number of current loops in a bar magnet, then the couple acting on a whole magnet is tau equals capital N, small I, capital A, capital B, sine theta, right? This is the formula. So the behavior of a bar magnet current loop, current carrying coil in a magnetic field is similar to behavior of an electric dipole in an electric field. So hence a bar magnet, a current coil, etc. are known as magnetic dipole. So we know that couple acting on a electric dipole situated in an electric field, that is capital E, at an angle with the direction of the field. So where P is the magnetic moment of electric dipole, right? So quantity NIA is equivalent to moment small p of the electric dipole. So this is known as magnetic dipole moment, right? Or magnetic moment, that is tau equals p, small p, capital E sine theta, right? And the moment of the couple imposed on a magnet situated in the magnetic field is independent physical quantity. So this is magnetic dipole, right? And the magnetic moment tau is equal to small p, capital E sine theta. Next thing is electromagnetism. Magnetism is one of four fundamental forces known to exist in the universe. So it binds the matters at the atomic level. So it accounts for the structure and behavior of atoms with regard to both their chemical properties and also the proportion of electromagnetic radiations. Right? So an electromagnet consists of a coil of wire wound to a soft iron bar. Now we are discussing electromagnet. So electromagnet consists of a coil of wire wound into a soft iron bar, right? So when the current passes through the wire, it magnetizes the bar by the induction, right? So the magnetic field produced reinforces that of the coil, and the resultant field is very strong. So as soon as the current is put off, the magnetic field or magnetic effect is lost, right? So wires carrying an electric current produce magnetic field around a straight wire in the form of concentric circles with the wire at their center, right? So a magnetic field can be produced by using a current, right? Suppose we take a wire, a conductor, right? And the current is flowing from downward to upward, right? So direction of current is upward, right? A conductor, and the direction of current is upward. So a magnetic field will be generated around the conductor, right? So we take a piece of paper, we put some iron filings over it, and a conductor passes through this paper, and the current is passing through the conductor upward, right? So a magnetic field will be generated around the conductor, right? And the direction of magnetic field will be anti-clockwise, right? So for this we use this thumb rule, right? So this thumb shows the direction of the current, right? That is flowing in the conductor upward, right? And this finger shows the direction of magnetic field, right? So when the current passes to the conductor, a magnetic lines of forces generated around the conductor, right? And when we reverse the direction of current, the direction of the field will be reversed, right? That will be like this. If current is flowing downward, the magnetic lines of forces direction will be clockwise, right? So wires carrying electric current produce a magnetic field around a straight wire in the form of concentric circles. It forms concentric circles, right, with the wire at their center. So a coil of wire creates a field somewhat similar to that produced by the ball magnet, right? So with the main difference being that in the electromagnetism, a uniform field is produced inside it. This uniformity of field is used as an advantage in SWD applications, right? So this is electromagnetism. Next is Biot-Savart's law. We have read Biot-Savart's law, right? So in year 1820, a French scientist, Biot and Savart, established the laws to find the intensity of magnetic field at a point due to a current carrying conductor, right? So suppose there is a conductor that is AB, right? And consider a small element of the conductor due to which a magnetic field P is produced at a point P, right? Then referring to the structure, the field is directly proportional to the current, right? Field is directly proportional to the current. It means capital B is directly proportional to the small I, right? And the field is directly proportional to the length of the conductor. So capital B is directly proportional to the length L. And the field is directly proportional to the angle between the line joining the point and DL. DL is the length of the wire. So B is also directly proportional to the sine theta, right? So B is directly proportional to I, B is directly proportional to the length, B is directly proportional to the angle, that is in form of sine theta, and B is inversely proportional to the square of the distance, right? The field is inversely proportional to the square of the distance of the point, capital P, right? So this will be capital B equals K ideal sine theta by R square, right? So formula is B equals mu naught by 4 pi ideal sine theta by R square. So we have read all these things. This one is Biot-Savart's law. So direction of field at P will be downward particularly to the plane of the paper by Maxwell's right-hand rule. Right? So this one is Biot-Savart's law. Next is a magnetic field of circular current carrying coil. We'll discuss it. A circular coil passes through a cardboard placed horizontally. Right? So the center of the coil lies on the board. On passing current through the coil and drawing the lines of force, latter are formed to concentric circles around the wire, crossing the board at 2 points. However, the lines of forces drawn in the middle region around the center of the coil are found to be nearly parallel lines. So in other words, the field is uniform in this region and is perpendicular to the plane of the coil. Right? If the plane of the coil lies on the paper and the current is flowing in clockwise direction, the magnetic field is directed inwards, penetrating the paper, and if the current is flowing in the reverse direction or anti-clock direction, the magnetic field is upwards and normal to the plane of the coil or this paper. Right? So these are simple things you have to understand. Next is electromagnetic induction. What is this electromagnetic induction? So whenever there is a relative motion between a coil and a magnet, right? We have to take a conductor, a coil, and a magnet, right? So an EMF is established in the coil, and this is called induced EMF. So there should be a relative motion between a coil and a magnet. Either the magnet should move or the coil should move, right? So an EMF will be established in the coil because of the magnetic lines of forces, right? They will cross the conductor. So this EMF is known as induced EMF. So if the coil is closed, a current flows in it, and this current is called induced current. So the phenomena is called electromagnetic induction. So important thing is you have to take a conductor, you should take a magnetic bar, there should be a relative motion. So because of this, an induced EMF will be produced, and that will be called as induced EMF. Right? And the phenomena is known as electromagnetic induction. Right? So Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction. What is Faraday's laws? Point is, whenever there is a change in the magnetic flux linked with a coil, an induced EMF is set up across the coil. So the induced EMF remains till the flux changes. Right? So there should be a change in the magnetic flux that is linked with the coil. Right? So the induced EMF is directly proportional to the rate of change of flux. Right? So direction of induced current is determined by Lenge's laws and by Fleming's right-hand rule. Right? So now first we discuss Lenge's law. What is Lenge's law? So direction of induced current is such that it opposes the very cause which produces it. Right? This is Lenge's law. So when the north pole of a magnet is moved towards the coil, suppose we take a bar, magnet bar, and the north pole of the magnet is moving towards the coil. So an induced current is produced in the coil, right? So then the direction of induced current will be such that it opposes the motion of north pole, right? Means the direction of current will be like anti-clock, right? So it will oppose the movement of the north pole. So current's direction will be anti-clockwise, right? And when the north pole is moved away from the coil, and induced current is again produced in the coil such that it opposes the cause. It means the motion of magnet moving away. Therefore, at the face towards the magnet, a south pole is formed in the coil. It will always oppose the movement. So thus the direction of current will be clockwise to attract the magnet, right? This is Lenge's law, right? Next one is Fleming's right hand rule. What is this? Fleming's right hand rule. We use these three fingers, right? Thumb, index finger, and middle finger. So it gives the direction of induced EMF or current in a conductor moving in a magnetic field. So if the thumb, index finger, and the middle fingers of the right hand are stressed mutually perpendicular, all these fingers are at perpendicular, right? Like that. So then the thumb indicates motion. This thumb indicates motion. Index finger indicates direction of field, right? Capital B. And middle finger indicates the direction of induced current. Direction of movement, motion, direction of field, direction of current, right? So by the Lenge's law, the direction of induced current in the circuit is determined, while by Fleming's right hand rule. So direction of induced current in a straight conductor is determined, right? So this middle finger will show the direction of current, this index finger will show the direction of field, this thumb will show the direction of motion. So this one is Fleming's right hand rule. Now we discuss self-induction. What is self-induction? So when the current flowing through the coil changes, the magnetic flux also changes. So when an induced current is produced in the coil, this phenomena is known as self-induction, right? So when the current flowing through a coil, suddenly the magnetic flux increases. So an induced current is produced in the coil, and this induced current flows in the opposite direction of the main current. So the main current does not increase. As the current increases, the magnetic lines of forces move out and cutting adjacent turns of wire and thus inducing an EMF in them. So similarly, the direction of induced EMF will be opposite to the current producing it. So therefore, induced EMF is in opposite direction to the main current, and so opposes its rise. So self-induced EMF of this type is therefore known as back EMF, right? Because it opposes the main current or main EMF. This is known as back EMF. And when the current directs in the coil, the the magnetic flux decreases and the induced current is produced in the same direction of the main current, so that the main current does not decrease, right? So it favors. So the magnetic field now collapses and the magnetic lines of force moves back in the induced EMF, moves or flows toward forwards as a forward EMF. So the overall effect of back and forward EMF is to retard the rate of current arose and prolong its fall. Right? So this is self-induction. Right? Next one is mutual induction. When the current changes in a coil, then the flux linked with the other coil placed near the first changes, hence an induced current is produced in the other coil. So this phenomena is known as mutual induction. Right? In this we use two coils. So when the two coils are situated, that the flux produced by the current in one coil links with the other coil, and there is set to mutual induction. So the coil in which the current flows is called primary and the other is called secondary, right? So as we use in transformer, one is primary coil and the other one is secondary coil. So the two coils, primary and secondary, are taken. Coil P is connected with a battery and a small key, while a galvanometer is connected with a secondary coil. So when the key is closed, the current goes on increasing from 0 to maximum. So during this short period of time, the flux linked with S, being secondary, increases, and hence an induced current is produced in the coil, secondary coil, and the galvanometer gives a momentary deflection, right? Similarly, when the circuit is opened, the current reduces to 0 from the maximum. Again, the flux changes and induced current in the opposite direction is produced in the secondary coil. So this is the example of mutual induction. One is primary coil, the other one is secondary coil. When the current flows in a primary coil, magnetic lines of forces will be produced. They will cut the secondary coil, and the EMF will be induced in the secondary coil, right? So because of change in flux, this induced EMF will be produced. This is mutual induction, right? So this is for today. So today we have discussed properties of magnet, properties of magnetic lines of forces, self-induction, mutual induction, Lenge's laws, Biot-Savart's laws, right? All these. So if you have any doubt, you can ask. कुछ पूछना चाहते हैं आप लोग?